So anyway, last meeting I already have defined the Riemann integral, and just a review is just the Riemann integral comes from the summation. Okay, taking the limit. So the integral f of x dx from a to b is just equal to the sum, the limit of the sum of f of xi delta x as the norm of delta approaches 0. Okay? Or some other would take this as, instead of that, n approaches infinity. There's an n right here, that this is over n. So you can do the summation and take the limits of the summation, and that would be identical to this one right here. And we evaluated this using the fundamental theorem of calculus. As just a review, if f prime equals f, small f, then the integral of f dx, f of x dx a to b, or I'll just write it properly, x of x dx is f of b minus f of a. So that means that there is a correspondence, not correspondence, but these two are identical. Okay? And of course, before this, we discussed anti-differentiation. Anti-differentiation is actually just the reverse of differentiation. It cancels the effect of differentiating. But it's actually, there's some sort of caution on that, because if you go from small f to capital F, meaning since f is the derivative of f, capital F, then you're losing a constant, right? You don't know what's that constant. That's why when we take the antiderivative, we have to have plus c. Okay? But the plus c, whatever is that constant is, will vanish if we have this is what we call the definite integral. Okay? That constant will vanish because you have plus c dire na apugay, plus c dire, so minus, magkaroon sa plus c and minus c, right? So the constants will just vanish, regardless what you know that constant or not. So it's okay. If we have a definite integral, we can evaluate this one right here. Okay? So that would just mean that when you substitute b to the limits of this, you have now the original function before it was differentiated and evaluated at the point b. So for example, it's like something like this one. This is capital F, and maybe f of x is, I don't know, maybe f of x is something like, this is f, small f, which is the derivative of capital F. Now, if you take the limit on this one, this area right here, that is the integral of kani, right? And this area right here, clearly this one right here is f of a, right? If this is a and b. And this one right here is f of b. So that this area, the total area of this one, kani shaded region, below small f, is just fb minus fa. Okay? So this is the, kumbaga, pa-illustration of that. Okay? Now, of course, differentiation is much easier than integration because we have the formula katuganing the property of the derivative, the product, the derivative of the product, the derivative of the quotient. Okay, we have that formula, but we have a problem with integration. Okay, from now on we call this one integration. Okay. We have a problem with integration because not necessarily that it will, not necessarily that it's easy to evaluate. And there are actually techniques of integration. In fact, in calculus courses, standard calculus courses, there's a whole semester devoted just to, almost a whole semester devoted to just techniques of integration. Okay? We don't need techniques of differentiation. It's just as we follow the formula. Okay? Now, dili na nako itudlo sa inyo ha ang pagsunod sa formula sa differentiation. Like katong kuan, there are lots of examples online. So kindly search dito. As I've said, we're not here to learn, this is not a calculus class. Importante is nakasabot mo sa meaning sa differentiation. Okay? So just a recap before we proceed with a much higher approach on this one is that differentiation, the derivative is the slope of a curve at any point, no? So if you have a function f, function capital F, then, okay, this is x. You would get a, kumbaga pa, sa ba ni? Anyway, just, if you have this f, and you want to know the slope changes, right? That's the difference from the line. The line is y equals mx plus b. M is a constant. Okay? M is a constant. It is all throughout the space, it is just a number. It's constant. It doesn't change. You're always facing the same direction. But when you're traveling through a curve, it changes. So the derivative will tell you, if this is x now, then f prime of x is actually the slope of the function. Let's just call this m f of x, meaning the slope, m is the slope. We'll just use, this is we'll just use this one because of the y equals mx plus b. M of the slope of the function f at the point x, because this changes also. This is, in fact, this is a function. This is a whole new function. So a derivative is something like, it's an operator. It acts on a function and gives another function. Okay? So that function is the slope of the function f at any point x. All you have to do is substitute that. Okay? Now there's one, with this one, there's actually one important thing that derivative can give us. This is actually, ang pinakaano is this, the concept of minimization or maximization. Optimization. Okay? Optimization. But of course, this is just a small part of optimization. When you say optimization, you optimize something. So it's either maximization or minimization. Okay? Maximize is to find the greatest possible value. Minimize is to find the least possible value. So if this is your, okay, I'll just write it here. Okay, if this is your function f of x, then we can find now what we call this one, maximum and minimum, and including relative maximum and relative minimum. Okay, now, as you can see, na ay mga peaks dire, right? Okay? Peaks and the reverse of the peak. These are actually maximums and minimums. Well, given a certain interval. So, for example, given this interval right here, the minimum is this, right? Given this interval right here, the minimum is that. Given the whole thing, what you would get is we now call the absolute minimum or the absolute maximum. Okay, now this could be the absolute maximum, but the function could be going dito and maybe going dito or whatever is that. So the absolute maximum or absolute minimum could be infinite. Just like, for example, for parabola. For a parabola opening upward, the absolute maximum is infinite. But there's a minimum, absolute minimum. Meaning the absolute minimum, that's the minimum of the function at anywhere. So the parabola, the vertex is the, for parabola opening upward, the vertex is the, okay, the minimum. If it's opening upward, absolute minimum. Okay? But if it is opening downward, then the vertex is the absolute maximum. And the absolute minimum is negative infinity. So we can get that, we can actually find these points right here. Okay? We can find that point. For example, let's, sa parabola. Parabola is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c in standard form. And the vertex, the x component of the vertex is minus b over 2a. And the y component of the vertex, let's call this x, how do we, xv na lang, no? And yv to be, you have to substitute it dire, diba? Okay, so you have a times minus b over 2a squared plus b times minus b over 2a plus c. And what would you get? That would be b squared. This is minus b squared. So this is b squared over ito na. A b squared. So okay, this will be a b squared over 4a squared minus b squared over 2a plus c. Okay, and what you would get is equal to 4a squared. I don't know, it's just 4a now, no? And nothing, this is 4a. Okay, b squared over 4a. So this is now b squared minus, this is 2 minus 2b squared, right? Plus 4ac. And this is now the y, meaning that the vertex component of the y is, you have 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So this is a formula, kani. Given the parabola, the equation of the parabola, you can find the vertex, right? By substituting the b and a. Like for example, f of x equals 2x squared minus 1, or 2x squared minus 1. What is a? A equals 2, b equals 0, and c equals negative 1. Okay? So, and you substitute that one to the formula, you can find the x component of the vertex and the y. Now, is the parabola opening up or down? It's opening downwards. No, upwards. Because A is positive. It depends on the A. Positive A means upwards. Negative A means downwards. Okay? So, anyway, this is standard result from analytic geometry. Now, using calculus, using the derivative, we can actually find the absolute minimum or the maximum. Okay? How do we do that? Recall that, look at the characteristic of the maximum and the minimums. If you're in the maximum, where are you facing? If you're here, where are you facing? No. Look at the slope. Paana nimo, di ba? You're carrying this. Pag abot nimo diri, where are you facing? Downward? Where are you facing downward? Nakakadirigid nga point. Where is the tangent line? It's the slope. The derivative is a tangent, di ba? So meaning that it's facing there, no? Tama? Purely on the x. There's no y. Okay? It's parallel to it's purely horizontal. Pag abot diri same gihapon. Okay? Diri same gihapon and dito same gihapon. So this maximum and minimum occurs whenever the slope of the curve, okay, the maximum or minimum occurs, well, not all the time, because sometimes when it gets to infinity, okay, the maximum does not occur on this one. But we exclude, we call that divergent functions. Functions which goes to infinity. Although function could go infinity, let's just assume within the interval, wala tay kani kung ani man god. If this is our interval right here, then this one right here is the maximum, right? And the maximum does not correspond to a line nga, tangent line nga paana. We want to exclude that. Okay? So meaning this is whenever, not all the time, but as long as we are in the, we want that case such that the tangent line, okay, the maximum or minimum occurs when the tangent line is purely on the x-axis. Okay? It's actually purely horizontal. So that would mean that what is the equation of this, the slope of these lines? That's just f prime, right? Of x. Tama? That's just f prime of x. So, meaning, these maximums and minimums occur whenever f prime of x, what's the slope of a horizontal line? The slope of a horizontal line. A purely horizontal line, delta y over delta x. What's delta y? It's the same. It doesn't change, right? So 0 over x only changes. So meaning, this is 0, right? So the slope of a purely horizontal line is 0. That means that the maximum and minimum occurs when f prime is equal to 0. Okay? So from here, all we have to do is solve for the x that would satisfy this equation. What would be the points x? So we can now find this one, x1, x2, x3, whatever is that. Pila man na siya, usa man na siya kadaga, no? x4, and so on. It could be only one, it could be many, it could be wala. Okay? Pwede nga wala, dili na siya ma-exist. But we want this one. We can find x. So for a parabola, let's solve this for a parabola. What's f prime of x right there? F prime of x for a parabola is, we follow, that is 2ax plus b, right? The derivative of x is 0. It's just 1. Now, as it said, this is the slope. The slope, the maximum or minimum occurs when f prime is equal to 0, right? Because it's horizontal. So this is now equal to 0. That means, we solve now for x. Asa nga x mo occur ang f prime of x equals 0, right? Because f prime changes. Tama? Asa siya mo point. So, you have an equation, 2x plus b equals 0. Or here, 2ax equals minus b. From here, you can get x equals minus b over 2a. And we get the same. Okay? So, in fact, the vertex of the parabola is at the either the maximum or the minimum. This will be important later when we get into projectile motion because it's a parabolic motion. Okay? So, mo ni ang isang ano ninyo. Whenever we set the derivative equal to 0, we are looking for optimum points. Now, this could be absolute optimum or absolute minimum or relative. When we say relative, these are actually, if there is a, this is a relative minimum. This is minimum pag kani atong istoryahan, right? So right here is a relative minimum. But again, the relative minimum can occur when can still occur even if the slope is not horizontal. For example, when we set the interval right here, as you can, right there, this is a minimum, but this is much lower, right? But then it does not occur. The slope of the tangent line here is not this. In fact, paano siya, right? Well, that's because of our definition of the interval. Giano nato na siya. That's why it's not always the case. But if we look into the whole function itself, the whole space, then whenever we set the derivative, we get those turning points. Okay? We can say that these are turning points. Much better siguro if we say that these are turning points. Meaning that, on this case, padulong ka pababa. Pag abot ni mo dire, you're now reversing. You are actually going up. So, much better if we can call them turning points in terms of y. Okay? Nasabtan? So, yeah, that's how you visualize derivatives. I mean, at least one of the pinaka-ano sa derivatives. Okay? So, whenever you see derivatives, just think of it as a slope of a function. Of a parent function. We can call it its parent function. Capital F is the parent function of small f. If we take f, capital F prime equals f. Okay, any question? So far, we have been dealing with single-valued, single-variable function, meaning a function like this, f from real number to real number. Now, what if in general we have f which takes the domain from R2 or R3 to R, meaning we have now f equals f of x, y, and z. That's R3 to R. How do we now take the derivative? Now, of course, it's the same thing. Whenever you're taking the derivative, we can also find df over dx. All we have to do is treat y and z as constant, as if they are constants. Meaning, when you take the derivative of y in terms of x, that would be 0. Because y here is just a variable. But this is no longer the notation. To emphasize that the function f is a multivariable function, we put this one. It's like called as delta, or in many cases, it's delta f over delta x, or in many cases, it's called as partial derivative. This is called a partial derivative of f with respect to x. Okay? This is just df over dx, only that f now, this is to emphasize that f is not a single valued function. And, okay, df, partial f, or you can read this as partial f over partial x. Okay? So, same na siya. When you take the derivative, so for example, you have f of x equals 2x squared y plus xy squared z. Find partial f over partial y. Treat x as constant. Only we're looking at y. So this is just the derivative of y to the 1 is just 1, right? So this is just 2x squared plus this is 2xyz. How about partial f over partial z? That would be this one 0, right? Walay z dire. So this is z to the 0, tama? Consider z to the 0. So all of this is constant when you're looking at z. Kanilang siya. So this is just xy squared because the derivative of that is. Now by this time dapat you are now able to at least easily find derivatives. Okay? At least polynomials. So okay? Nasabtan? Okay. Now, another thing is what we call composition of composite functions. Okay. Composite functions. Composite functions. Meaning that here we have f equals f of u, where u is a function of x. Okay, for example, f of u equals 2u plus 1. But your u now is equal to 3x minus 1. Right? So, f is a function of u, but u is a function of x. So, here meaning that f is a composite function. Or I think, I hope I have used the, it's a composite function. Okay? Now, for the thing is, since f is a function of u, okay, I'll just use ani, no? Okay. 2x plus 1. Since f is a function of u, and u is a function of x, can we find df over dx? Can we find df over dx? And the answer is yes. Well, we can actually, so far what we have known can deal with this one. All we have to do is substitute u for in f right here, right? Kasi x man ta, right? Certainly, okay, first let's find df over du. df over du is what? Okay, I'll just change the ano ba, imuna ko ng quadratic para mas illustrative. So this is 2x plus 1 and this is 2x squared minus 3x plus 2. Okay, how about that? Ay, sorry, this is u. Okay. So, df over du is just 4u minus 3, right? So that's df over du. Now, what about df over dx? Now, df over dx is so far what we have known is enough for us to calculate this. But it's quite impractical. Okay? It's quite long. Pero we'll just use what we have known in order to evaluate this. Okay? So, we'll find now f of x now as 2 times 2x plus 1 squared minus 3 times 2x plus 1 plus 2, right? So, this is 2 times 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 minus 6x minus 3 plus 2. Or you have 8x squared. This is 8x minus 6x, so plus 2x. 2 minus 3 is negative 1 plus 2, so plus 1. I think this is correct. Kindly check if this is correct. Yeah. If you have not made a mistake. Sakto naman siguro, no? 8x minus 6x. Okay. Now, df over dx is clearly 16x plus 2, right? But the process is quite what we call longer. Actually, di man siya ingon nga longer because long mangyapon ng ano, pero this is much more tedious. Okay? Now, in order to deal with this one, okay, kindly take note of this one, no? In order to deal with this type of ano, we will now have defined the chain rule. The chain rule is actually monegi ano dire, no? How to deal with this one. Given that given the same definition, the chain rule is df over dx is just equal to df over du times du over dx. Okay? So we can use this one. What is df over du? df over du is kane 4u minus 3 times what's du over dx? That is just 2, right? Tama? 2 du over dx. du over dx. So, take the derivative of this with respect to x. So, that's just 2. So, this is just equal to 8u minus 6 times yeah. And then we substitute now this one. 8 times 2x plus 1 minus 6. That would give us 16x. 8 minus 6 plus 2. We get the same thing. Okay? So, although mingon mo sir, pareho naman kataas, it's just the same. But in more complicated functions, this one is much more powerful. And in fact, when we get into the derivation, in many cases, we could not find, this is not explicitly given. So we could not just use this one right here. So we need this. Okay? So, diba? It's the same. Okay, so that would be the chain rule. Nasabtan ninyo? Okay. Okay. Now, let's go back to multivariable. Let's deal with multivariable. The total derivative or a total differential. The total differential of any function f. So that is actually df. This is the total differential. Now, if f is a case 1 is f is a function of x, y, and z, whatever, how many variables pwede na siya dira. Okay? the total differential df equals, we already have the partial derivative. This is just partial f over partial x dx. Okay? Wait lang. Okay. Plus partial f over partial y dy plus partial f over partial z dz. This is what we call the total differential of f. Nasabtan ninyo? Okay. This is something like, this is we could not put actually a number on this one. Diba? We know, as for now, dapat ma-realize niyo that df, dx, dy, dz, these differentials, we could not put numbers on them. Although they have numbers, they are small. It's just meaning that they are very, very small. They are negligible, but not non-zero to be totally neglected. Nakuha? Okay? In fact, in a much more higher vocabulary in mathematics, these are called differential forms. It's much more, pero it's very advanced. Di ta maabot dira. Okay? But we have this one. Now, if f is a composite function, we can also find the total derivative of f if f is a composite function. Pwede gihapon ni siya actually, for number 2, we can actually find df also. F equals f of u, and u is a function of x. Then the total differential df, pwede na, well, df over du, pwede ni siya du, butangan ni mo natog du dire, pero it would be, du. Pwede na siya. But du is still a function of x, right? Du would again be, kung makita nimo, applying the same rule, du would be equal to du over dx, right? Okay? So, from here, this is just equal to df over du over dx, dx. Okay? Or, pwede natin diretso df over dx, dx. But, sir, makancel naman ano? Pero actually, it's a different thing when you say that i-cancel na ninyo because, yeah, du equals du. Pero naman ko na siya ikuan. We call this actually implicit differentiation. Implicit ano yung kuan? Example. F of x equals 2x squared plus x plus 1. What is df? df is df over dx, dx. Diba? But what's df over dx? That is 2x squared. No. Sorry. This is 4x plus 1, right? Times dx, right? So this is now df. And if you transfer dx dire, you get df over dx back, diba? 4x plus 1, tama? Diba? Pag imo na siya ibutang dire, so that's df over dx. It's just that. Okay? Now, how about katong ganiha, tong function na to ganiha? The total differential, okay? So, okay, kani magamit gyapon ni siya pag if we have a composite function. Okay? But we will now express it in terms of dx. Okay, df over du, du over dx, you will arrive at the same katong kuan niya. Okay? So this is much more what we call an implicit differentiation kaning secondary. Okay? Now, we go to a different topic now, which we apply calculus on this one. Parameterization of curves. So, we have finished already vector algebra. Okay? For any given point, x, y, okay, we can find a vector. Let's call this vector r, which is given by x, y, right? Or xi plus y, j. Now, what happens if that xy is moving? Okay? What happens if that xy is moving? Meaning that it could be, this could be the movement of xy. I mean, that point. And at each point, this is now the curve that it traces. Certainly, this curve, we can find an equation of this curve, right? We can find an equation of this curve. It's possible. Okay, now we are interested with this one right here. If x moves, okay, with time, then can we find the equation of that curve, and more importantly is how do we find now r as something like a moving vector? Because at every time it changes, right? Now if x moves in a curve, that means that x now is a function of time, y is a function of time, and of course if we have z component, z will also be a function of time. So from here, that means that we have now an r of t, which is composed of x of t, y of t, and z of t if we are in 3 dimensions. Or x of ti plus y of tj plus z of tk. Nasabtan ninyo? Understand? Now, in order to understand this, let's have an example of what we call parameterization. For parameterization, for example, right here, the circle is given by x squared plus y squared minus r squared equals 0. This is a curve, right? Now, at any point on the circle, we can find r to be just x, y, such that x squared plus y squared minus r squared equals 0. Right? Or in terms of this is already a vector r is x. And what's the y? Well, we can use the y. We can find the y by solving this, right? So y is just r squared minus x squared, square root. If we are limiting ourselves with the upper semicircle. Okay? Dire. This is already our y. And we can say that our vector r is x and then square root of r squared minus x squared. Now, this means here, right here, that we only need one parameter in order to completely know r, the vector. We only need to know x. Once we know x, once we put x, we can find the y component. Nasabtan? And this is already what we call, this is already a parameterization. Okay? Instead, we can actually find here r of t equals some t square root of r squared minus t squared. That is now our r of t. Or in ijk, that is ti plus square root of r squared minus t squared j. What is this? This is a point that when at t equals 0, tanawa, at t equals 0, asang circle? At t equals 0, the circle is at r. Tama? The circle is at rj, no? R of 0, the circle is at rj. Where is rj? Rj is right here, right? Tama? So, diri siya nagsugod. Okay? At t equals 0, this is, tama? Nasa dire. Because this is, the radius of this is r, right? And then at t equals, as you move that one, padulong na siya dire. Wait, no. As t is getting positive, it moves right here, right? So the movement is clockwise. Okay, mo positive man. Okay? And if you limit t to be positive, so ibig sabihin, you cannot traverse this part. Tama? But it's part of the circle. Well, you can start with with t equals negative 1. How about r of negative 1? Then, r of negative 1, or negative r. So this is now, what is our r of negative r? That would be negative ri plus 0j, right? So, asa siya nag-start? Dire, tama? And from r, you increase the value of r hinahinay and you will trace this curve right here. Okay? Sabdan? Now, this one is what we call a parametrization of a circle. Now, there are many other type of parametrization. In the next meeting, we will be dealing with that one. Okay? Nakuha? At least karon we have now the motivation. We want to express we want a point to traverse in a curve. And that point is changing with time. What would now be our vector representation for that point that traverse with time? And that is very much relevant in physics because that's what we want in physics. Okay? So, see you next meeting. Paki-erase lang daw, be.